In this video, I'm going to show you a bunch of cool tips for Lightyear Frontier if you're starting as a new player. The first tip I have for you is to replace your windshield as soon as possible in your mech, because right now you can see these bars across the screen and they can get a little annoying. So you want to progress the game until you can build the merchant landing, and this will actually let a merchant land at your base every single daytime. I think it's like from as soon as like the lights really up in the sky. And from this merchant you can buy things like resources and stuff that you might be looking for, or you can even sell stuff to make money, things that you collect or gather in the world. From the merchant, you're actually going to go to the mech parts section, and you'll actually go down and look for something that says windshield. You have the vintage windshield that costs $200 that I've already purchased, and you get like the hot rod one, which is $400, which is not super expensive early on. Once you've purchased it, you will have to use your upgrade depot, which allows you to upgrade your mechs, and you just interact with this thing over here to plug your mech in, and then you're going to go ahead and use E on the tool. You're going to go to mech customization at the top, and then here you'll just click the windshield you want. You can see here, this stores everything. If you've paid for it already, all of them will be in here, and you just click this, boom. And what this does is it spawns it into the real world just like this, and then we just have to replace by holding right click or whatever the grab thing is, and we just get rid of that one, and we grab this one, and we just throw that one on. Boom. And now when you're using your mech, the screen looks like this. No more bars. Everything's nice and clean. The next tip is about storage. Storage is something you're going to have to get into very early on. Like these storage boxes here are all full to the max. You can actually see in my inventory, I have nothing in my inventory, but that's fine because you can still use all of the resources that are in your storage. They don't have to be in your inventory. You can just go to your assembler and you can see I can craft all these things without having any of them in my inventory or any of like the materials. For my next tip, I'm going to show you how to respawn materials in things that you really need. For example, like the aluminium rods. These ones over here, you can actually fill up this entire area quite simply. You can have the rods spawn in all of these different things here across and all the way down this way. And this is super helpful at the beginning of the game when you need a ton of these. And this is done by a system where you have to feed animals or nests within the areas. If I go ahead and I open up my map and I hover over the meadows, you can see here at the top left it says nests fed 0 out of 3. Now when you feed the animals, this will allow the area to restore the resources or even drop more resources, which is pretty damn cool. And you can see for the meadows, the diet that you have to feed them is basic fodder. Every single area has a different type of fodder, and some of them are more expensive to make than others. Now to make fodder, you are going to have this fodder oven. It's the second thing that you are allowed to build in the game. It's super easy to build. It's basically this machine over here, and you'll see here to make basic fodder, you need plant oil and plant fiber. Plant fiber is super easy to get, and plant oil is just from the oil presser where you go ahead and you turn plant fiber into plant oil one every 30 seconds, and you just let that go. You're going to need about 3 of them for every single feeding area. The first location that you can feed in the meadows is right over here. And what you're looking for are these different animals, these birds that you see, these swift plumes. You can go ahead and feed them. If you feed 3 of them, it will actually count as 1 for the area. As you can see here, once I do this, 1 out of 3 nests have been fed. And that will help respawn resources in the meadows. If I go to the other area that has all the aluminium, which is located over here on the map, so you can see just above the meadows name over here, the aluminium can be found in this location, and the nest is found right over here. Now you can either feed the rat scallions, I think that's what they're called, rat scallions, or you can go to the nest directly and feed the nest 3 times, and that will count as 2 out of 3 nests filled for the meadows. The third and final nest in the meadows is actually located by the water here near where I set up my base. It's at the northern side on the beach at this location here. You'll see this one is for crabs, and we'll go ahead and go up to the nest over here and we can feed the fodder. Once you complete it, it will say 3 out of 3 nests fed and the meadows is complete. Once the day resets, you'll see the resource boost will get the 3+ signs, extra resources respawn in this region, and pretty much all the resources that can spawn in will spawn in, which is fantastic. Now that it's a new day, you can see all of the aluminium rods have spawned in here, and you can mine all 4 of these nodes. And if we go down further to the south here, you can see the other 3 nodes here that you can get as well. So this is a great way to get aluminium rods really quickly. Every single day you can harvest these, especially early on in the game. For the next tip, it's how to restore an area. You'll see as you discover new areas in the game, it will tell you to restore that area. If you don't know what this means, essentially you have to go to that area and you have to get rid of the purple slime on the floor using your water hose to wash it up. Or if it's the plants that are affected, you can use your vacuum to pull them up. Some locations in the map will require you to upgrade your mech so that you have a stronger saw to break things, a stronger vacuum, a stronger hose pipe to wash away stronger slime. So you're going to want to progress your mech upgrades at the same time as you restore areas. When you do restore an area, you will see a cutscene and it will actually show you a location, typically like unlocking a new resource for you to, get and use. Much like when you unlock Pine Heights, you get the red crystals, as you can see in the distance of my screen over here. Early on in the game, you're going to want to set up your farms and your oil pressers as quickly as possible, because you're going to need a ton of the resources that you farm. Because these resources are the only way that you're going to get some of the oils that you need. For example, Caroot Oil, which I'll show you how to get Caroot later on in this video. You'll have to set up a bunch of oil presses, and essentially you're going to be doing like things like this, and you're just going to be making a ton of these and letting them go all over, because they all take a bunch of time. So don't be afraid to extend the amount of machines and the amount of farmlands you have so that you can plant and do as much as you want. The next thing I want to talk about is the Coziness buff. And this is from where you have your house or your tent, ton of different options you can see here. You start at the small tent, you use small cabin, house, mansion, whichever one of these that you're on right now. You can see here, I just have a small cabin. When you place this down and you, for example, go inside it, you can see on the right-hand side, we have the Coziness buff. I right now only have level 1, which means I unlock the effects for Keen Eye. You have a chance to find additional resources in the wild. So when you're harvesting, sometimes you get 2 of something instead of just 1. But if I manage to get my coziness to level 2, I can get animal friend, which animals have a chance to dig up additional resources when fed. So if you go out in the world and you feed like those different animals, they might dig up some resources for you to, use, and it might be something good. To increase the coziness, you just have to build decorations. So pretty much anything that says decorations at the top of the screen, you can see decorations, decorations, decorations. I can build like, if I go ahead and I build this gnome, you can see the level of our, house just went up. And I can go ahead and place a strange vase as well, for example, and we can go ahead and we can build this too, and we should get to level 2 for the new effect, Animal Friend. So if the effects from the cabin are something you're interested in for the coziness, that is how you can raise the level and get extra rewards. The next tip is how to craft a bunch of stuff instantly by using the sleep mechanic. So when you have things like the grinder and things that take quite a while to make, for example, these are 1 minute for all of these, but you get to a point where some of them are like 2 minutes and 3 minutes and can take like 12 minutes to make everything. Or using the oil pressers and you're making like, all the different types of oils, you can go ahead and stack all of them so that their queues are maxed out. So once you have everything working like a perfect little factory, we can actually go ahead and we just sleep. And you'll see this will cause everything to have been crafted overnight. So you can see here now everything is just full, so you can instantly craft anything, no matter how long it takes to craft, as long as you do it just before you go to sleep, so that everything respawns or like spawns in as soon as you wake up and you have all of those resources. It's a great way to skip all the time wasting. Now you might notice that my mech is actually white instead of the basic red that everybody starts out with. And now I'm going to show you how to actually change the color of your mech as you're playing this game. You will have to progress until you can build a flower press, which allows you to create paint from color flowers. Color flowers are these plants that you find across the entire world, like this. This is a yellow one, and you can get different colors of them. You get red, blue, yellow, white, as far as I've seen thus far. And if we go ahead and we use the flower press, we can go ahead and take, those color flowers and we can turn them into paint. So we can make red paint, we can make blue paint, we can make white paint, or even yellow. Now, once you have paint in your inventory, all you got to do is climb out your mech and then swap to your secondary weapon, which is, it looks like this. And you'll see here, once you have the paint in your inventory, or you can press R to, change the color that you have. You can see in this case, we have only blue paint. And you'll see when we hover over the mech, we can actually see what it looks like. And if you shoot one paint, you can change the color of the section of the mech that you're looking at. You can also use different colors. For example, if I change to yellow and you can see the different yellow, you can also change the color of different things like your chests or even your walls of your different structures around in your base. As you can see, it will show you what the yellow version looks like. And if I wanted to change it, I would just left click and boom, now it's yellow. That's how you can change the color of your mech as well as other things. You can also go a step further later on where you unlock the color mixer, which is crafted with red crystal dust and hardwood. You can place this down, and when you have different colors, you can now mix them together to make other paints like green paint, sky blue, orange, purple, rose paint. So as you get more of these paints, more colors you will unlock as you can mix them together to get like, a unique combination of colors that you want to use. For my next tip, it's going to be how to set up a multiplayer session with up to 4 other players. So you just have to go in the main menu screen, you go multiplayer. You can either join a multiplayer session, which will require you to enter a code. If you go ahead and you press the invite code at the bottom right here, you can say enter code, and you can get a code from your friend. That's a 5 digit and letter code, all in caps, and you can type that code in and it will allow you to join their world. Alternatively, you can host a multiplayer session, and for the host, you can use your single player world. You can add any world here. I can use this world that I used for single player as well as multiplayer, and this time have my friends play with me. Now, once the host is in the world, and you can see this is the exact same world we were in previously, if I go ahead and I click escape, you'll see here in the options in the middle of the screen, there is now an option to invite friend directly from like the Xbox thing, I think. Or you can use this invite code where you click show invite code and it says 27G0K. You send this to your friend and they input it in the same way I just showed you previously, and then they will join your game. And if you have a password on the server, they'll have to type in their password after this. If there's no password, they will enter immediately. I should warn you that the game only saves every single time that you sleep in the game, so I have had a crash happen and we lost like 20 minutes of progress. So make sure as the host, you regularly save your game after you've done a lot of things, because losing 20 minutes of progress sometimes hurts when you lose a whole day's work. Now I'm going to show you some resource locations that might come in handy for resources that you might need and not know where to find them. First off, let's start out with aluminium rods. You can see here, we did talk about it earlier on in the video. You can see there's up to 7 nodes in this location. This location is in the meadows. It's right over here, literally on the word the meadows over here. You can find it in this spot over here. So just use your map and find this location and you can find these, things. You can also find some more of them close by over here. As you can see on my screen, you can see there's a bunch at the back over there in this whole area. On the map, this location is over here. It's just by Pine Heights. So from here in the meadows, if we just go from this location around in here, you'll find a bunch of the aluminium rods. And that should keep you going for most of the beginning of the game, as long as you're harvesting all of it every single day and you're using the nests and feeding them so that they respawn the following day. If you're looking for copper ore, I'm going to show you some locations and how to find copper ore. This is what copper ore looks like. You might need to upgrade your saw to harvest these, I think. I'm not sure. You might just have to get here and test if you can or not. You'll find copper ore in the Edge Cliffs area of the map, so that's just south of the meadows. And you can see here, it's going to be along this cliffside over here. Where I am right now, you can find 3 nodes specifically right over here. And in general, if you walk around and you explore this area, you can find there's a ton more. There's like 7 nodes in this location. As long as you've like cleared out and you've opened up the area to unlock copper ore, you'll see here there's a bunch in this area as well. This is south of the location where we were at previously, and you can find it pretty much anywhere there where this is this kind of like dirt type. You'll see like from the meadows, if you just go straight down to the south into the Edge Cliffs and you go into this region, even if you don't have the map unlocked, if you just stand around in the same place, you should find this area pretty easily. Though you might have to restore Edge Cliffs or another location first to unlock copper ore first. So make sure you're restoring your areas as you're playing the game, because those unlock resources. For the next resource, this is one that took me way too long to find, and it is Caroot. Caroot Oil is this thing that you're going to need, and you basically make it the same way you make plant oil or polyberry oil. And to get Caroot, they look like this, and you use the vacuum to suck them up. And the location that you'll find these on the map is pretty much all over the Edge Cliffs biome or area of the map, this section. So right now where I am is over here, but you'll find them literally along any of the green paths that you go, even in here as well, you can find them. As you can see, as I'm walking this path, you can find more of them over here, and you'll take these back home and you'll start planting them, and you'll let them take, I think, 3 days, in-game days, to grow, and then you'll get the actual Caroots from harvesting them from your farms, which you can put in the, the oil presser to make Caroot Oil, which is a ingredient that you're going to need a lot. So you can see this next location is over here, where I found some more. There's also some over here. As you can see on the map, it's going to be at this location over here, just at the bottom left of the word edge, on cliffs right here. And lastly, this area has a ton of them as well. You can go find them in here, and you can see there's even some in the distance through this like forest over here. And this location is pretty much in this like orange tree forest area of Edge Cliffs. For the next resource we're going to find is iron ore. Iron ore looks like this. As you can see, as I walk up to it over here, it looks pretty much like what you would think iron ore would look like. So there we go. You will need the upgrade for your soul so that you can end up crafting this. Since I did this in multiplayer, I actually didn't get the upgrade for myself. But you'll see they're in this little area over here, and you'll find even more there. But if I open up the map, this location is actually over here. It's in the it kind of it counts as the stepstone peak. So it's at the lower end of the southern end of this mountain over here. As I slowly zoom in, it's at the north end of the stepstone peak, right at this location over here. You can find more iron nodes further to the south of that previous location. I'll show you on the map now. You can see these nodes over here. There's actually 6, I think, at this site. So there was 2 there, there's 2 over here, and there's another 2 over here, right in this area. So this is a nice location too. If I open up the map, this is at the southern end of the stepstone peak. So it's just below this cliff over here along the edge like this. So search around here and you'll find a bunch of the iron ore. For the next resource I'm going to show you is Chromaize. Now Chromaize, to get Chromaize oil, Chromaize looks like this, right? So you see it here. It looks like a very interesting plant over here. You go ahead and you pick it up like this. The vacuum, I think you do need to upgrade your vacuum to get it, but you'll find them all across the grasslands over here. Pretty easy to find. They stick out really obnoxiously, so you can't miss them once you do go to this area, and you'll find them pretty much all over the area of the stepstone peak. So if I go here, wherever there's like grass along this area, you know, you'll literally find it in this entire loop. You'll find batches of it as you go. You will have to take this back home, make a crop, plant it down. It does take about 3 days being watered every day until it fully grows so that you can harvest it. Unfortunately, it's quite difficult because it only gives you 1 seed per harvest, so you don't get more seeds for the more harvesting you do. You'll actually have to come out here and get as many of the seeds as you can out in the wild, and that's how you can increase your Chromaize oil, you know, production quantity, because you're going to need a lot of Chromaize oil as you get later on in this game. But just search the Stepstone Peak and you should be fine. And that's pretty much it for all my tips that I can give you on Lightyear Frontier. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. It's pretty interesting. It's really fun, actually. Quite addictive. And I hope you guys are having fun with it. Thanks so much for watching this video.